Broadcasting from the deserts of sunny Arizona, you're listening to I've Got a Plan, hosted by Tim Fiskus, a podcast focusing on the two-player experience of Arkham Horror the card game. Join me as I take two investigators through a campaign, stopping along the way to talk tactics, strategy, and whine about the whims of the Chaos Bag. Let's have fun. Thanks for tuning in to a special episode of I've Got a Plan, where I take Lola Hayes through the Depths of Yoth, trying to make a tarot deck work. Before I get started with the video, I'm going to take you through my choices for the deck. This is going to be published onto ArkhamDB under the name Lola Scoops the Poop, which is paying homage to Miskatonic University Radio, claiming that this deck can't be anything but dog shit. Honestly, I think they might be right, but it's not doing too badly right now. I've run 4 games of this. My best is level 4. You're going to see somewhere in the middle today on this video. It's a short video, but it's a solo play through the Depths of Yoth, going as deep as I possibly can. I've made a number of tweaks to the deck. I'm going to take you through my choices so that you can kind of understand what I did and what my thought process is here. I don't in any way think that this is a finished version of this deck. I think it's a pretty good version of this deck. I see a lot of potential to tweak and to always mess with Lola, given that her card pool is essentially everything. The question is, what can she access? How's her economy going to work? And how does she get past the problems that were given to her through her design, which is always at odds with her deck building? So, first things first are my weapons. I went with a 32 Colt, a flashlight, and a meat cleaver. Obviously, the 32 Colt and the meat cleaver are the weapons, and the flashlight is in the hand. Although I wouldn't put it past Lola to beat somebody over the head with a mag light. The 32 Colt is there. I think it's a bit of a controversial choice because I wanted the ammo. I would typically pack machete in this spot, but I'm playing Taboo, and I didn't want the extra XP given that I'm already running a 39 XP deck here. So 32 Colt gave me a lot of ammo for the buck, and I'm going to be boosting her fight value using the Ace of Swords and using Reliable, which you'll see in just a little bit. Also, my normal stat boosts through the Crystalline Elder Sign. So the meat cleaver is just there. It's a good survivor weapon. I used to run Fire Axe with this when I was running Dark Horse, but I'm not doing Dark Horse anymore, so I like meat cleaver to help be able to dish out a little bit of damage early in the scenario and potentially even heal some horror for small damage enemies. Lola has very light stats. She's 6 health, 6 sanity, which is another downside against her. So I'm not sure why the designers opted to make her health and sanity so low, but it doesn't help her whatsoever. I'm going to be going with the Crystalline Elder Sign for obvious reasons. It's just a terrific card. I will only ever play one of them, of course, because I don't want to seal the Elder Sign, but the sealing the +1 in solo is no problem at all. And that card is just great at pumping all her stats to 4 across the board as a base. My allies really are the bread and butter of the deck. When you're trying to decide what you're going to do, ally slots often come first, and this deck is all about Anna Kaslow. The whole point here is to be able to get out a bunch of tarot cards early and then ride those static boosts into a successful scenario. I have also opted for Lola Santiago. This was recommended to me on Reddit, and I didn't think I was going to have the economy to be able to actually buy clues with her, and honestly I realized it doesn't matter. Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. If it's a really low shroud location, you can also use flashlight to lower the shroud and then buy the clues with Lola. So honestly, just her static boosts of intellect and agility are good enough. And then Mr. Rook is in there to help me search for my pieces. Now the downside, of course, of Mr. Rook is that you also have to draw your weaknesses, but in Lola, that can really be a boon rather than a burden. It's never going to be good to draw your weaknesses, but Lola can time when she uses it, and by using Mr. Rook to draw it, you're going to automatically be in Seeker. So you can use your last charge with Mr. Rook, your last secret with Mr. Rook, to dig really deep. And then if he ends up biting it because of Crisis of Identity, then so be it. This deck with 39 XP is running, I think it's a total of 6 basic weaknesses. Well, 2 signature weaknesses and 4 basic weaknesses. So the chances that Mr. Rook's going to hit a weakness are pretty good, but also it can get out that key piece that you need, especially the Crystalline Elder Sign or maybe even Anna Kaslow. I have the tarot cards I'm running are the 3 colors that I'm running 7 cards of, which are Guardian, Seeker, and Rogue. Ace of Swords, Death 13, and the Moon 18. Those I've opted against boosting willpower beyond the Crystalline Elder Sign, just because I'm trying to pick a stat that I want to be good at, and I'm going to pick intellect and agility for this situation, and then strength as a secondary to be able to deal with enemies. All right, so moving into the non-tarot cards, I've got 2 copies of Cornered. Cornered is a pretty stable card when you're talking about having tarot cards in your deck, because tarots can't be committed for anything, and you're going to draw extras that you can't play in the moment. So Cornered allows you to just ditch those and get a +2 bonus for them, as though every tarot after your setup is an emergency cache. And that's pretty great. I'm also running, as you'll see down the page there, Winging It, because Winging It pairs with Cornered really well. It lets you get the +2 as though it were emergency cache, and then it lets your, I keep saying emergency cache, I mean Unexpected Courage. And then it can be played from your discard pile to grab a couple of clues. So that's pretty great. In addition to grabbing clues, I'm also running Crack the Case for economy. In solo, that's really good. If you can get 1 clue off of a 4-shroud location and then pop a Crack the Case, that can be a quick income of $4, which can let you play another tarot card, or let you be able to get another ally into play, or pay for buying another clue with Lola Santiago. Lola Santiago can buy the clue and then trigger Crack the Case. The problem with that, of course, is that you have to switch roles in between. And I think situationally you'll have to see if there is a player window to do that. Emergency cache is obvious. The Calling in Favors is in there to be able to dig for Anna Kaslow. I don't really like Calling in Favors in this deck all that much. It's a neutral card, so Lola can play it anytime. She can also commit it anytime, which is nice. I'll talk about it a little more in the video. Flare is in there as a backup weapon emergency situation, and also to go be able to search out either Lola or Lola Santiago or Anna Kaslow. And it's an exile, but I don't care because I'm playing standalone. The 2 reliables are in there because I like reliable in Lola a lot. She can, anytime that she's in Guardian, she can just slap it out, it's fast. And then once she's out of Guardian, it just kind of continues to do its thing. And by boosting the weapon it's attached to. So a reliable Meat Cleaver is pretty great, and the reliable 32 Colt is even better. So Winging It is there, we talked about. And then my 2 skills are Eureka and Vicious Blow. Nothing to really say there. Vicious Blow's a great card. And so if I had more XP, I would probably upgrade that. I'm running 1 copy of Charisma and 1 copy of Studious. Now, the reason I'm not running 2 copies of Studious is just simply for XP reasons. I really tried to get 2 copies in there, but with everything else I wanted to do, I couldn't get it to a second copy. Drawing 7 cards and then mulliganing is really strong, but really 6 cards and mulliganing is strong too, so I'm finding that to be pretty successful. And then everything else there shows you what I'm dealing with in the deck. I've got a Silver Twilight Acolyte enemy, no good, thanks. An Amnesia, a Crisis of Identity ×2, Paranoia, and Through the Gates. So that's what I'm looking at for my basic weaknesses and my signature weakness, the 2 copies of Improvisation. So I will be posting this to ArkhamDB once I can do so, but right now the deck is not publishable because some of the cards are from the most recent set, which are still based on spoiler rules, not allowed to be published. So look for that in the coming week or so. I'll probably also tweak this as I continue to play it, and I expect to do 1 more video once I hit a little more of a stride here with Lola. But I thought you might enjoy kind of seeing what I do. I love janky decks. I love underdog investigators. So if you like this channel, you will be seeing a good deal of stuff you probably won't see if you're looking at the real competitive decks being played on other channels. So without further ado, let's get to the game. And we are ready to roll. This is going to be quite experimental.
As full disclosure, I have played this scenario with Lola last night. I had a good Reddit thread going about the Miskatonic University Radio's claim that Lola Hayes and Tarot and Studious is just going to make a dog crap deck. And I thought, no, you know what? I bet I can make something out of that. I had a couple ideas. So I put the deck together, ran it through the hive mind over at Reddit. I got some great suggestions. And last night, I took it to the Depths of Yoth and never made it past level 1. I had a pretty brutal start. I don't think it had so much to do with the deck, though I think the economy and the engine in the deck was not that great. So I did, what happened was in the first round, I drew a Serpent's Call, which either poisons you or makes you draw 2 more encounter cards. Well, I didn't want to be poisoned right off the bat. Lola's health pool is only 6, so I certainly didn't want to worry about all that damage coming from being poisoned. And the Fangs of Jaeger, particularly nasty if you're poisoned. So I said, okay, I'll just draw 2 encounter cards. Well, the two encounter cards I drew were the Eater of the Depths, which is the Victory 2 monster, big old thing. He spawned in a location connected to mine. And then the second card was the Serpent from Yoth, which is the 5 health Victory 1 enemy that spawns right on top of you. So that was essentially it for Lola's run. I managed to make it another maybe 7 or 8 turns with evading and exploring, and I grabbed a couple clues before I finally succumbed to another attack from, I believe it was the Eater of Yoth, or it might have, at that point, I had a couple other snakes spawn that I had managed to kill, but it was just brutal. There was no getting out of that situation. And I really don't think that had anything to do with Lola. I think that any investigator would have had that trouble with that pull. So I've given everything another shuffle up, and I'm going to be trying this again. This is my first video podcast. I've never actually recorded a video before, so I've got a little top-down camera going on here. I hope you all can follow what I'm doing here. A little inspiration from Vase Odin. Thanks, Vase. I'm doing thumbs up, I guess. I guess you have to turn your phone if that doesn't work. It's a thumbs up. Vase put out a video that showed some of the ways that he records and edits, and so I'm going to take a tip or 2 from him. I'm not going to be doing all the fancy editing that he did just yet until I learn a little more about it, but I think this is going to make for a nice looking video. I'll give you a little layout of my play area here in case you're watching the video and not listening to it. Up in the top left here at on the Eager for Death board, I have my encounter deck because I figured that seems to be the right kind of place for an encounter deck. Over here on the Miskatonic University board, I have my custom poker chips that my wife's business made for me with ammo tokens and supply tokens, little backpacks with little vials and that sort of a thing. I've got my charge tokens and my secret tokens, the open book. And then I also have my resources. And these are double-sided poker chips. Real nice. Have a nice feel to them. Sound nice on the table. And then over here on my other little tin board, this is the one from the Forgotten Age. This little tin board has my Agenda and Act deck on it. I've got Lola here in front of me. I'm using her standee from Eldritch Horror because I find those to be a real nice way to track characters' movement around the board. And then I am also using for action markers these 3 little mini Cthulhus that I got from the Cthulhu CCG back in the days when that came out. There was a thing called the Bag of Cthulhu and I bought a couple of those. So I've still got a bunch of those hanging around. So I use those to mark her actions to keep track of where I'm at. And then over here on the Dunwich Horror board, I've got my deck, my starting 5 resources, and my permanents, which in this case are Charisma and Studious. Studious is the one that's going to let me start with an extra card in my hand. So that is what's going on there. I'm all shuffled up, and I'm ready to get started. I'm going to need to draw a starting location. Let me go ahead and shuffle up the locations. This is the Steps of Yoth. It doesn't get shuffled in yet until we have chosen a location to start at. I'll just leave the shuffle right there. Our depth level is 1. I'm going to leave a die right there to mark the depth level at 1. You probably won't be able to see that as small as it is, but I'll keep calling out the depth level as I go. And we're going to be ready to draw a hand of cards. So Lola's going to get a 6-card hand because of Studious. My first version of this deck had 2 Studious in it, but I cut one of them. I didn't really want to cut one of them, but I was trying to keep the deck at under 40 XP, so I'm at 39 XP, which already puts 4 basic weaknesses in my deck. Yikes. But I wanted to get, I switched out to get Lola Santiago in. I do think that that was a good call. Thank you, Reddit board, for that suggestion. Originally, I didn't think I was going to have the spare cash flow because I was running a Dark Horse version, but this version is not a Dark Horse version. And so I did a bunch of tweaking to this today. Have never played this deck before. So quite frankly, this could be hot garbage. We'll find out, and I think it's going to be fun to check out Lola stumbling through the Depths of Yoth. All right, so let me draw my 6 cards here. Give this a little shuffle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And my 6-card hand is Lola Santiago, Anna Kaslow, happy to see her, Death 13 Tarot card, well, this is a good start, Eureka, Reliable, and a Vicious Blow. Okay, that's not bad at all. I can go ahead and, well, I certainly like the idea of starting with Anna and Death 13 in play, and then another tarot of my choice, which I think I'm going to go ahead and get the blue tarot. Let's see here, because I can start off as Seeker, and then I would be able to do that. The Eureka is going to be kept because that's going to let me just get a little bit of a filtered draw. I'm keeping this. I am actually not going to mulligan a thing. I did not think that was going to happen, but this is a great hand. I'm going to mulligan the Vicious Blow. I'm going to go ahead and toss that back. I might need that later, but right now I just want to get things going setup-wise. So Vicious Blow is going to be mulliganed, and I'm going to redraw Silver Twilight Acolyte. Nope, that's a weakness. Let me draw another one. 32 Colt. That's pretty much perfect. So between the 32 Colt, the Reliable, and the blue, the Ace of Swords, which is a tarot I'm going to grab, I will have a pretty nice starting fight setup. So I couldn't ask for a much better starting hand than that. Let me go ahead and shuffle Vicious Blow and the Silver Twilight Acolyte back into the deck. I'm not going to shuffle too much because I'm going to be searching for a card in just a minute. All right, I am going to go ahead and set my starting class at Seeker. That will allow me to play the Death 13 before the game begins. Let me go ahead and set up the rest of the scenario, though. So Lola is going to be starting at the City of the Serpents. The City of Serpents is a 3-shroud, 1-clue location with Vengeance 2. When the City of Serpents has no clues on it, it is considered to be in the victory display for the purposes of counting Vengeance. Yuck. That is going to make me want to really blitz through this first level quickly, because that can get ugly fast. The 2 Vengeance points means that the Serpent of Yoth is Hunter and Retaliate if he shows up, and it also means that the other snakes, the Servants of Yig, are a little tougher to beat. So I'm going to want to... I would bypass that clue if I could, but you can't explore unless all the clues are gone off of the location. So I'm going to deal out another 4 random ones, set the rest of these aside, and shuffle the Steps of Yoth into those 4 random ones, leaving us an exploration deck of 5 cards, one of which is the Steps of Yoth. All right, now I'm going to leave that little exploration deck right up here, and I'm going to start Lola at the City of the Serpents. All right, so having been declared as Seeker class, I'm going to play the Death 13 Tarot card into play. That is going to boost my intellect by 1, putting me at 4. I'm just going to go ahead and mark that. And then I'm going to play Anna Kaslow, also pre-game. She's neutral, so I can do that. Anna Kaslow reads. She's new from the most recent set, In the Clutches of Chaos. And really, she's the reason why I'm building this deck. She is a Mysterious Soothsayer, 3 cost, 4 XP card, but it says when the game begins, fast action. If Anna Kaslow is in your opening hand, put her into play. After Anna Kaslow enters play, search your deck for a tarot asset and put it into play. So that's pretty great. So I'm going to go ahead and put Death 13, and I'm going to search my deck for an Ace of Swords and put that into play, where it was right on the bottom. So Ace of Swords goes into play. That also boosts my combat, my fight skill up to 4 as well. So now I'm looking at a stat line of 3, 4, 4, 3, which is starting to be pretty darn respectable. I need to make sure I protect Anna Kaslow as best as I can. And I have 2 additional tarot slots over and above my normal amount, so she can also, I have room for 1 more tarot card if I happen to draw it. So we're all shuffled up there. And the game is afoot. So let me slide this over here. Gonna need a little more room. Okay, so I'm gonna wanna go ahead and get set up a little bit more. I am in Seeker right now, so I can still play Eureka. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna go ahead and investigate for my first action, and I will play Eureka. So this is going to be a 4-5 to 3 investigation test. That's pretty good odds. The reason I'm not playing Lola Santiago first is that I want to switch into Rogue and then stay in Rogue for between turns. It risks Lola, but it is what it is. Also, with the way that the deck is made up right now, the 2 up versus 3 up doesn't matter too much. So anyway, here's my token. It is a 0. So 0 means I get a clue. So I grab this clue off the location, and the vengeance is now at 2. I'm gonna go ahead and put a die here on the act agenda board to indicate that my vengeance level is at 2. I got the clue off the location, which is fantastic, and Eureka kicks in. So I'm going to discard Eureka, and I'm going to draw the top 3 cards of my deck, search the top 3 cards of my deck for a card. I got a Crack the Case, and it's 1 second too late. Would have been really nice to have for when I cleared that location. Crack the Case, Emergency Cache, or a Flashlight. My Investigate right now is really pretty good, so I'm not going to bother with the Flashlight just yet. The Emergency Quiche is really nice, though, with Lola being able to buy resources. So I think I'll do that. I think I'll go ahead and take the Quiche, and I'll shuffle the other 2 back in. All right. And then for my second action, I'm going to go ahead and play a fast action to transition into Rogue. That's going to be Lola's free transition for the turn. I am now sitting in Rogue. So at Rogue, I will take my second action, spend 3 resources, and play Lola Santiago. So she's my second ally, which I can have because of Charisma. And I've got my my ideal ally setup going right now. I also carry 1 copy of Mr. Rook in the deck, who I like to use to cycle back and forth to be able to dig for exactly the piece of my puzzle that I need. Lola gives me a +1 to both my agility and my intellect. So I am now at a stat line of 3, 5, 4, 4. 3, 5, 4, 4. That's pretty snappy. I'm not bad at all. And that was my second action. And I think I'm going to go ahead and move for my third action so that I can spend the 3 resources. I'm sitting at 2 resources now. Next turn I'll have enough to play the Colt if I want to, and I might. But I want to give the opportunity to potentially purchase a clue this turn if I hit somewhere cheap. So let's go ahead and explore. So my exploration takes me to the Depths of Yoth. Okay, well, the Depths of Yoth is a 3 shroud, 0 clue location. This is the exit. This is the exit that I'm looking for here, and it is attached. It is connected. I don't use my connection markers. I have the real nice buy the same token connection markers here. These things are really cool. It's one-sided or two-sided, but I don't use them in this scenario because the connections are just bananas. And they change, and so I don't use them as markers. I can keep track of it. Okay, so she's moved into the Depths of Yoth for her third action. It is a essentially it's just a way out. There's nothing here other than connections to other places. So no clues, nothing like that, nothing to purchase, and I'm done. So that's the end of the investigation phase, and there are no enemies, and so we're going to move on to reset upkeep here. So I'm going to get my actions back. Lola remains in Rogue. Let's see if that comes back to bite me. I'm going to draw. Oh, it's a tense thing for Lola when she draws off the top of her deck. And I drew an improvisation. Okay, so improvisation is Lola's signature asset. So this allows her to swap roles and then reduce costs. So that's going to come in real handy to allow me to get my Colt 32 Colt into play. I'll go ahead and keep that. And that will let me get my 32 Colt into play and also cycle off into something harmless at the end of the round, or at the end of my turn. So we'll take a resource, putting me at 3, and we're going to go on to the Mythos phase. So 1 Doom of 3. We start I have chosen to play at a normal difficulty level, so this is standard and at 10 Yig's Fury, which puts us at Agenda 2 to start with. So Agenda 1 is gone. We are at Agenda 2, Horrific Descent, and it is a 3 Doom threshold agenda. So let's see what I draw off the old encounter deck. Okay, I've got a Pit Warden. The Pit Warden is a monster. He is, unlike most enemies, he is a humanoid monster serpent and does not spawn engaged with me. He will spawn in the pursuit area. So I have to be careful because he will start chasing after me. But the good news is he's not actually on me right now. So I'm going to place him in the pursuit area, which I'm going to put right up here. Pardon my head cold. I'm going to put that right up there. Grab a little drink of water here. And the Pit Warden is going to hang out there until I'm instructed to bring stuff out of the pursuit area. And it's back to me for 3 actions. Okay, this is looking pretty good. I'm in Rogue right now, so I'm going to give myself a chance to potentially buy a clue. For sure. I'm going to explore as my first action. So exploration takes me to the Crumbling Precipice. This is also a legal location. It's connected to the Depths of Yoth, but not to the City of Serpents. That's a bit unfortunate because that's now 2 locations that have no clues at it. So I can explore out of here. I got pretty good odds of passing these one of these 3 tests given my current setup. So I will explore one more time. Okay, so what this means is I now have to go through the series of tests that can kill you. If you fail all 3 of these tests at the Crumbling Precipice, you are dead. So I'm going to start with the test of willpower. This is a willpower 4 test. I'm certainly going to fail it. Probably. I'm at 3 to 4. I'm not boosting it. So I draw a -3. That's no good. Now I'm going to test agility, and this is a 4 to 3 test. Feel a little better about that, given that the skulls are -1. And that is a -2. Oh God. Okay, so now we're on to the third one, which is a strength 2 test. And I'm gonna just take this. I am feeling bold, and I'm just gonna take this at 4 to 2. Otherwise I fall to my death and I am killed. I draw a cultist. Reveal another token. No, just drawing out the drama. 4 to 2, drawing another token out of the bag, and it is a 0. The cultist doesn't do anything unless you fail, so I did not fail, and I did not fall to my death, though I acted as though I did, like a good Lola. So I then can go ahead and explore as usual, and let's see where I end up. The Hall of Heresy is not connected. I will keep looking. The Caverns of Yoth, that is connected. The Caverns of Yoth are connected and also connected to the City of Serpents. So let's go ahead and put this up here. The Caverns of Yoth are not, however, connected to the Steps of Yoth. So I'll shuffle the Hall of Heresy back into my size 2. The Caverns of Yoth are essentially perfect for me right now because they are a 1 shroud location with 1 clue. And it says, after Caverns of Yoth enters play, place clues on it equal to the current depth level, which is 1. So it has 2 clues, which is exactly what I need. So moving on to the Caverns of Yoth for my second action after the Explore, I will go ahead. I am in Rogue still, so I will use Lola Santiago, exhaust her, spend a resource, and discover one of the clues there. That is an actionless because Lola Santiago is 1 bad mamma jamma. And then we are going to, do I want to explore for my third action, or do I want to take advantage of the opportunity to get my gun into play? I'm going to go ahead and get my gun into play because I can always just buy again with Lola next round. So I'm going to play improvisation. This says Lola Hayes deck only, fast, play only during your turn, switch your roll. Until the end of your turn, reduce the cost of the next card you play of your roll by 3. Draw a card. So I'm going to switch my roll to Guardian. So move that up there for Guardian. And reduce the next cost of Guardian. I'm going to draw a card. I drew a Winging It. Now, Winging It is in this deck because I'm playing cornered, and I like the combination of using Winging It as a boost and then using the ability from the discard pile to get some clues. So I'm going to just put that in my hand for right now because I'm not in the right class to play that right now. Then for my third action, I will go ahead and play a free 32 Colt. That takes up a hand slot. And is free. That comes into play with 6 big old ammo on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it fights, dealing +1 damage, no combat bonus. So the good news is I do have a combat bonus because I'm still holding on to a Reliable in my hand. And Reliable is also Guardian and can be played right now. Fast, play only during your turn, attached to an item asset you control. So I have a Reliable Colt in play. So I'm going to get 6 shots at +1. This means that that functionally my fight is a 5 when firing the 32 Colt, and that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. Cost me a resource to play that, leaving me with 1 resource. And I am out of actions. I will go ahead and take a free action to change roles, and I am going to, in anticipation of using Lola Santiago again next turn, I'm going to change roles back to Rogue. Am I? Yeah, that way I can still fire a gun next turn if I need to. A little risky. I could lose Lola off of this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Switching back to Rogue with my freebie. The reason I can do a freebie here is because my role change was from improvisation, not my character special ability, so I still had a change available to me. So anyway, that happens, and I am done with my investigation phase. There are still no enemies on the board. There is one in the pursuit area, but not on the board. And then I am going to ready. So Lola readies. I get my actions back, and it's time for me to draw a card. Oh my God, what is gonna happen? Excellent. So I drew a Calling in Favors. Now, this card is a little controversial. I think a lot of people don't like this card. I am not one of them. I like Calling in Favors, not in every deck, of course, but I run this card in a good many of my decks. That especially, I really like it with Mr. Rook, the new Seeker ally that allows you to go digging for cards in your deck. Mr. Rook runs out of charges, and so I like to Calling in Favors. Maybe go trade him out for somebody else. I have it in this deck to be able to go search for an Anna Kaslow so that I can get my tarot thing up and running. I happen to have an Anna Kaslow right off the bat, so I don't mind committing calling in favors for either an intellect or an agility icon, and since it's neutral, I can do that at any time. So that's why I play calling in favors. I think it's good. I don't think it's great, but I think it's good, and it can be a real boon to have that card. And I take another resource, putting me at 2. And we're going to round 3, I guess. And that is 2 doom of 3. And my encounter card is Lightless Shadow. All right, this is a terror card. Not a tarot card, a terror card. Revelation, test agility 1. This test gets plus X difficulty where X is the current depth level. If you fail, take 2 damage. All right, well, this is not bad. I have 4 agility, so I'm testing 4 to 2. I'm not committing anything to that. If I take 2 damage, I take 2 damage. 4 to 2, and my token is a tablet. What is that these days? Reveal another token. All right. And then I reveal, so I should do this here on the table. I reveal, ooh, sassy, an elder sign. Very nice. So, Lola's elder sign reads, +2, you may switch roles. Now, I'm going to think about that. I didn't get any enemies. I passed the test. Lightless Shadow has been passed. I am in Rogue, so I can just go ahead and buy that clue and move on. And I think I'm going to do that. So I will pass on the role switching. Right now I'm happy in Rogue. I might switch out by the end of the round. Always have to be on the lookout for Crisis of Identity, which is the one that'll get you. Right now I have a pretty multicolored setup out there. I definitely do not want to end my turn in Guardian. That's the one I don't want to do. So let's go ahead and free action purchase with Lola this 1 remaining clue on the Caverns of Yoth. So that gives me 3 clues, and I'm ready to leave. So that's not even an action. That was free action before I do anything else. And let's see, I can go ahead and just get to the Steps of Yoth in 2 moves. Either back through the Crumbling Precipice, which is safe, it's only tests if you have to explore out of there, or to the City of Serpents. And I want to get out of here before this 2 Vengeance causes me trouble. Now, here's the one downside. If I get out of here this turn, I'm going to have the Pit Warden to deal with right away. Next time, because the Pit Warden is going to show up at the location, when the agenda flips, the Pit Warden's going to show up at the location you started at, and I will probably still be at the location I started at. If I wait, he will show up at the City of Serpents here, and that will give me an opportunity to get out of here. The problem is that the City of Serpents is connected to the Steps of Yoth, so I would take an attack unless I went about the business of evading him, blah, 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 blah. His evade is only 1, so I'm not really worried too much about it with my agility of 4. So I'm just going to go ahead and zip along here. In standalone Depths of Yoth, you can't win. You're just trying to get as deep as you can. So I'm going to go ahead and move. So I'm going to move two spaces over to the Steps of Yoth. That'll take 2 actions. And then for my 3rd action, I have to be here. You descend at the end of the round, I do believe. Let's see. If there are no clues on your location, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the round, if the investigators possess the requisite number of clues, they may advance. So I have 1 action remaining to do something productive with, and I think I'm going to draw a card. But first, I'm going to change classes so that I'm a little more safe on the card draw. Yes, let's go ahead and draw. I have so many weaknesses in my deck right now. Maybe I should just take the emergency cash money. I also have a paranoia in my deck, so I can lose all my cash. So I'm just going to draw a card. So let's go ahead and draw a card for my third action. And that will be... So I'm going to retcon this just a little bit. I knew that I had the chance of drawing a Crisis of Identity, which I drew. My intention was to switch to Survivor before I did that, in case I needed to commit, in case I needed to bail out of a color. So I am switching to Survivor before I draw that. That was my intention. I didn't say it out loud to you, but I thought it in my head, and it's my game, and it's cooperative. So anyway, Crisis of Identity shows up. I would discard all cards I control of my current role, which is right now Survivor, which is nothing. So I then discard the top card of my deck and switch my role to the class of the discarded card. So I discard, an Anna Kaslow. Okay, so a second Anna Kaslow is going into the discard pile. What happens if you hit a neutral? Let's see here. If the discarded card is a weakness, switch your role to neutral. I'm just switching my role to neutral. All right, so I am neutral classed right now, which can be real nasty. And that was my third action. At least it gets rid of that one Crisis of Identity, and I can stop worrying about it once I hit the second one. And that's the end of my turn. So enemy phase, nothing happens, and then I go ahead and reset. So I am still neutral here and get my actions back. Draw a card, which is a flashlight. Okay, not sorry to see that. And then take a resource. I only have one hand full of stuff, so I can go ahead and play that flashlight next turn if I wish. I do have 3 resources, so that's good. And I am going to advance the agenda. So, end of the round. So, if there are no clues on your location, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the round, the investigators at the Depths of Yoth possess the requisite number of clues. I have got 3 clues, so I may advance. All right, advancing says add a resource to the current depth level. I am now at depth level 2. Otherwise, I'm not playing campaign mode. All right, so I move all enemies to the pursuit area. They're already there. I go ahead and reset the board and head out to the next area. Okay, that's that. So I'm gonna gather up all of the locations and create a new map at level 2. All right. So I'm going to be starting the next scenario, or the next level, at the Broken Passage. Okay, this is interesting. Well, when you explore a broken passage, check your supplies. I don't have any supplies in standalone, so this is just going to be a doom on this to explore out of it. Not much I can do about that. And then the Depths of Yoth and 4 others get shuffled in. So I've sort of landed in a bit of a rough spot on the second floor. Here is where I will probably show down with the Pit Warden if I decide to pop a couple shots into him. I could do that. 5 to 4 is not terrible, but I'm now at level 2, and that means skulls are -2. So 5 to 4 is not terrific either. I might just evade him and go. So there's that deck, and we're on to the next round. The agenda advances. 3 doom of 3. And I arrive at the Fountain of Venom. You pass through a cracked earthen clearing, and there is a fountain here. There's ooze in the fountain. I don't have any supplies. I'm not playing campaign mode, so we'll just ignore that. But we do take the Pit Warden from the pursuit area and spawn him at my location, which puts him engaged with me. So I have a Pit Warden who's hot on my trail, and that is that agenda. We move on to the next agenda, which has a 4 doom threshold. I no longer have any vengeance because that location is now gone. And I draw an encounter card. It is Ooh, yuck. A Fang of Yig. All right, I got a couple monsters on me I'm going to have to deal with. So the Fang of Yig is retaliate, and he will hurt you if you're poisoned. He will cause trouble if you're poisoned, I should say. So 2 monsters engaged with me, and I'm going to have to deal with them. And no surprise there, that's why I'm here. I would really like to get a cornered up and running very soon if I possibly can. So I am still in neutral class. I don't have anything in neutral that I particularly want to do. So I'm going to switch my class to Guardian so that I can start shooting my gun. So switch to Guardian, and I'm going to start shooting. So action 1, I'm going to shoot the Fang of Yig. I am fighting with the reliable 32 Colt and my Ace of Swords. I am at 5-3. So 5-3 on the shot. First shot is a -1. That is successful. We put 2 damage on the Fang of Yig and spend an ammo token. All right, second shot, I will just shoot him again. 5-3 one more time. I have nothing I can commit to this, so that's just what I am. And I draw, a -5. That's no good. That's an ammo token, and he is retaliate, so I take 1 and 1. I will put them both on Lola Santiago. She'll just act as a little bit of a soak there for me. And then action 3. I'm not going to be able to get away from this Pit Warden, so I better go ahead and kill the Fang of Yig. So I will fire one more time. I have spent my free roll change. So I will fire for a 3rd shot at the Fang of Yig at 5-3. And that nets me a -2. So that's good. So I hit him, and he is dead. All right, the Fang of Yig has been dispatched with 3 bullets. It's one more bullet than I was hoping to spend. And that was my 3 actions. I cannot change rolls because I don't have that free action left to me. I didn't get anything really done that turn at all. And now in the enemy phase, the Pit Warden smacks me around for a point of each. I'll have to take that since I'm not going to kill off Lola Santiago for something petty like that. So 1 and 1, and I'm sitting now at 1 of 6 of health and 1 of 6 sanity. And that is the enemy phase, and then I'm going to upkeep. So I'm going to, I have nothing to ready, and I'm going to draw a card. Oh, Lola Santiago. Sorry, Lola Hayes is in trouble. 2nd crisis of identity off the top of the deck. That's terrible. That I am in Guardian. So I have to lose my Ace of Swords, my 32 Colt, and my Reliable. And there's nothing I can do about it. So now my crisis of identities are gone. Ace of Swords is gone. My 32 Colt and my 3 bullets are gone. And my Reliable is gone. So let me see if there's anything else I need to do. I think I need to flip out to see what I'm going to be. Switch my roll to another class. I discard the top card of my deck, which is a weakness, Amnesia. I think that means I sort of get out of that one for free. I switch my roll to neutral because I discarded a weakness. Well, the good news is I don't have Amnesia. So my roll is switched to neutral. And let's see, that card was drawn at the end of my turn, so I take a resource, putting me at 4 resources. And the rug got pulled out from underneath me just a little bit there for sure. But that's my 2nd crisis of identity, so I can play a little bit more confidently now. Draw some cards, see if I can't get some stuff set up. I've got a little bit of cash. All is not lost. We are ready to start the next round. So, Doom on the agenda, that is 1 of 4. And my encounter card is a Deep Dark. This limits the number of clues you can get per location to 1 per investigator. So for my situation right now, that's not too bad. So I will start my turn here by evading the pit warden. Let's see. This is going to be a 4-1. Oh, I need to readjust my stats here. 3-5, 3-4 for my stats right now. So 4-1 on the evade. I draw a 0. All right, that's nice. So the pit warden is evaded for my first action. For my second action, I just need to get out of here. So I'm going to explore. For my second action, I then have to place a doom on the broken passage. So that is not on the agenda. So if I can get out of here fast enough, that might be able to be gotten rid of. I don't know about that, but we'll see. I am exploring into an abandoned site. Okay, this is not bad. The abandoned site is a shroud of 2 because a shroud is the current depth level, and it has 1 clue. So not a treasure trove of clues, but it does have 1. And that was my first action. It was to evade. Second action was to move, was to explore and move. I am tempted to just buy this clue. Or I could play my flashlight and be almost guaranteed to get it. But I'm kind of liking the idea of potentially getting 1 more space away from the pit warden. And I've got emergency cash in play. Yeah, all right, I'm just gonna go ahead and buy this clue. So I'm gonna spend a little, I have to switch roles to do that. Fine, I'll switch into rogue. That's my switch for the round. I didn't have anything else I really wanted to do anyway. So I switch into rogue. I will use Lola Santiago to buy this clue for 2. So I have 1 clue out of 3 that I need. And I'm down to 2 resources. And then for my third action, since this is now an empty location, I can explore again. So I will explore again and see where I end up. I've ended up at the Hall of Heresy. Yes, that is connected. And the Hall of Heresy is a little bit of a funky location also. This is a tough one. It's a 4 shroud, 1 clue location. While you are at the Hall of Heresy, there is considered to be Vengeance 2. Only while you're there. So, but that is right now. So I am there. There's a clue there that'll be a little bit tricky to get, but I've got a flashlight, might be able to help me out there. And that is the end of my turn, investigation phase. So then we go to the enemy phase. Right now I have nothing else bothering me. So we ready the pit warden. He can chase after me. He notably is now 2 locations away from me because those 2, the blocked broken passage and the Hall of Heresy, are not connected. So I'm going to draw my card, which is another flashlight. That's 2 flashlights. I doubt I'll play both of those. I might commit one of them. And draw and take a resource. All right. So, Doom on the agenda, and then this is going to be essentially Doom 3 of 4, even though there's only 2 on the agenda. There's the 1 sitting on the broken passage. All right, so that is Doom 3 of 4. Deep Dark, I forgot about. I didn't break that rule, did I? No, I did not. I can only discover 1 clue per location, and that's all I did. So, Deep Dark goes away, and my new card is, boy, oh boy, another Fang of Yoth. All right, so I think that's the second of the two of 2 Fang of Yoths. I don't really have a good way to fight him right now, so I'm going to have to try to sneak away. He is engaged with me. I am not poisoned, so I can hopefully just wily my way away. I am still in Rogue right now. though that doesn't particularly matter. I'm going to try to evade the Fang of Yig, and I'm going to commit calling in favors for the willpower, or for the agility icon on there. It's neutral, so I can do that. And that's going to be a 5-3 on the evade. This guy does not hunt, so as long as I can get out of here, I will be able to shake this guy. So 5-3 on the evade. Chaos Bag gives me a -5. Thanks, Chaos Bag. Love ya. All right, that's first action evade. Second action, I will try to evade again at 4-3. I have no more icons that matter. So my evade at 4-3 is let me pull it out here, an elder thing. That's probably bad. -2. If there are 3 or more vengeance in the display, there are not. But I failed it anyway. Oh boy. And I will go ahead and try to evade him again. So 4-3. I've been failing my punch tests too, so. -2. So, nope. 3 evades, 3 misses. That's gonna stink. So, enemy phase, I take a shot from him. That's 1-1. And that puts me at 2 out of 6 in each. No other problems there. He is retaliate but not alert, so I wasn't getting hurt on those evades. I just had a moment of panic there, but I didn't. So then, enemy phase. I also forgot the Pit Warden hunts over to the abandoned site, so he's now only 1 away from me. So getting away is going to be priority. I am going to reset, draw my card, and I draw a Meat Cleaver. Happy to see that. All right, a Meat Cleaver is gonna be nice because I need to start chopping some guys up. No doubt about it. I'm remaining in Rogue right now. It doesn't matter too much. And it doesn't matter at all. Yeah. And then I take a resource. That puts me at 4 resources. And I am ready for the next round. So that's 4 of 4 doom. So we're going to go ahead and clear the doom off of the broken passage and flip the agenda. The agenda says, find the enemy in pursuit with the highest evade value and spawn it at the location. There are right now no enemies in pursuit. I am going to have to, essentially I have to check to see if I fall and take a physical trauma. I'm not going to bother with that because I'm not playing campaign mode, and physical trauma doesn't matter. You don't take any damage, you take physical trauma, and so no sense in doing that. I don't think there's any reason to test either. There is, because there are some special tokens. So I will test agility 5. So that's 4 to 5. I will not add anything to it. And I draw a cultist. Of course I get one of those. All right. And I will draw another token, which is a skull, and that is -2, so that's a fail. The cultist kicks in. Each serpent enemy at your location heals 2 damage. I don't have any damage on any of these things, so it's not too bad. So that's the end of that agenda card, and I'm moving on now to drawing an encounter card, which is Bathophobia. Bathophobia is a willpower test based on the depth that I am at. So this is a willpower 3 check. I will take 2 horror if I fail, which honestly is pretty not terrible because of the fact that it kicks in my Meat Cleaver, other than the fact that it puts me in pretty dire straits. But I'm not committing the Meat Cleaver, so that's just how that's all there is. So I'm at 3 to 3, hope for the best. And I get a cultist and draw another token. And I draw a tablet. All right, let's just go ahead and get all of these tokens in here. I think the tablet really stinks if you fail. Place a clue from the token pool on your location. Oh, that's not terrible. And then I draw one more, which is a -2. So that is a fail. So I have to take a clue from the bank and put it on my location. That's not terrible, honestly. And I failed the bathophobia, so I take 2 more horror, putting me at 4 of 6 horror. I'm not going to kill off either of my allies just yet. So 4 of 6 horror puts me in meat cleaver range. So my first action I will do here is to evade the Fang of Yig. So 4 to 3. Let's hope for the best. +1. Hey, how about that? So I evaded the Fang of Yig. Now this is where it gets a little tricky. I think in a lot of ways this really isn't very tricky. I'm going to swap roles to Survivor. No, I'm not. I have 4 resources. Tricky. I could play the flashlight, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. All right. I'm not going to swap to Survivor. I'm going to stay in Rogue. For my second action, I'm going to play a flashlight. So that's going to cost me 2. You see, I can't get out of here. I want to get out of here, but I can't because there's clues here. So I'm going to try to resolve that problem and then hit the road. It might be too late for me, but I'm going to try anyway. I'm going to place 3 supplies on the flashlight. That's my second action. And then for my third action, I'm going to investigate using the flashlight. So that will lower the shroud to 2. And then in the timing window during the skill test, I'm going to use Lola Santiago and take advantage of the lowered shroud and the location from the flashlight to be able to buy a clue for 2 resources instead of 4. So I'm buying one of the 2 remaining clues. Hope you like that little trick. That's a good little fun one there. And then I'm going to resolve the test at 5 to 2. So I'm currently investigating at 5 to 2. That seems pretty good. And I draw an Elder Sign. Excellent. Now, that's a big success, so I get the clue at the location. And I can change roles. Now, that is my third clue. So I'm ready to get out of here as soon as I can find the way out. But I need to figure out if I want to switch roles. At this point, I'm kind of happy in Rogue. I just spent all my money. I can always get the meat cleaver out by playing an emergency cache later. I'm just going to need to evade a couple guys and hope to get out of here and get lucky. So I'm going to set my role to keep it in Rogue is what I'm going to do. I'm not changing. And then I'm done with the investigation phase. Enemy phase. The pit warden hunts to my location, engages with me. Let me slide this stuff up here. And hits me for 1 and 1. Now, this is starting to get iffy because I cannot give up Lola Santiago because she's got my evade. She's got my evasion boost that I need. I will take the 1 and 1 and just hope for the best. This is getting pretty bad, but let's do it. So I am now at 5 of 6 horror, and I am at 3 of 6 damage. I do have a little bit of soak left, but it's soak that I really don't want to use if I don't have to. And then I'm going to ready everything. The Fang of Yig readies and is in my location. So I'm up against 2 enemies right now. I'm going to draw a card. I draw a Vicious Blow. That's interesting. Would have been more interesting if I had had that gun still in play. And then I will take a resource, putting me at 1 resource. And we put a Doom on the agenda. This is a 4 threshold agenda, and that's 1 of 4. I draw my encounter card. Honestly, if this is an enemy, I'm dead. Let's give it a shot. It is not. It is another Bathophobia, and I might be dead anyway. So, this is going to be a 3-3 willpower test. I will have to, if I fail this, I'm dead. So, I'm not actually dead if I fail this, but I'm so weakened as to really not be worth it. I'll go ahead and toss the meat cleaver, I guess. Yeah, I'll toss the meat cleaver for the test. So I'm at 4-3. Say a little prayer for me. Say a prayer. That ain't gonna do it. That's a -5. That's terrible. So, I take 2 horror. I have no horror left to be able to take, which means both Lola Santiago and Anna Kaslow have to take the hit for me, and that takes them out. Now, Anna Kaslow actually wasn't doing me anything tarot slots-wise at this point, so she's just essentially acted as a soak. But boy, Lola's passive boosts are really hurt disappearing right now because I need that extra agility. The card that I drew did not have an agility pip. So, here I am facing off against 2 enemies, and I need to get out of here. So, I cannot take an attack from either one of them, or I'm dead. So, I'm going to evade the Pit Warden, because he's easier to evade, and that'll be 3-1. That's a -1. So, probably should have started with the Fang of Yig. Oh no, that would have been a miss on the Fang of Yig. So, the Pit Warden has been evaded. That's 1 down. Second action, I will try to evade the Fang of Yig. I can't do anything else because I can't take an attack of opportunity. I can't draw cards. I just have to evade this guy. I could punch him, but I don't have a weapon. It's ridiculous. Evade him at 3-3. This needs to be a 0, a +1, or an Elder Sign. It is a -2, so that's bad. And then my third action, I will try to evade him one more time. So I can't take the hit. So I evade him 3-3. Let's see what happens. It's a 0. That's a pass. Okay, so I evaded him and I don't die. So I think when you're playing Lola, that's just kind of your goal. Let's just not die. However, am out of actions and I am just sort of spinning my wheels at this point. But maybe I'll draw something good. So we go to the enemy phase. Nothing happens. They're both evaded, and I'm going to draw a Crack the Case. That is a fine card, but not what I need right now. I like Crack the Case in solo, especially because the most of the locations only have 1 clue on them. You can just grab that clue, play the card, and grab some cash and go. So I'm going to ready both the Pit Warden and the Fang of Yig. I'm going to need to do this again this round. And take a resource, putting me at 2. Doom 2 of 4. And my encounter card is a Snake Scourge. All right. Snake Scourge is going to essentially negate my flashlight is what it's going to do. My flashlight is treated as though it were blank, and then it'll go away at the end of the round. It does not have Surge because I am not poisoned. So that's, I guess, thankful for small favors there. All right. Let's evade the Fang of Yig. That's the one I need to get away from for sure. So 3 to 3. I have nothing to commit. I got a skull. That's a -2, so that's a fail. Action 2, I will evade the Fang of Yig again. Gotta pass this one. 3 to 3. It's a 0. I passed. Unfortunately, because I missed one of them, I'm going to be spinning my wheels again. So I have evaded the Fang of Yig. This is the part of the game that gets so extra exciting. And then my third action, because I can't take an attack of opportunity, I have to evade the Pit Warden at 3 to 1. This could also be the end of Lola. And it is -5. That's a fail on that evade of the Pit Warden. So I'm out of actions. The Pit Warden then in the enemy phase attacks me. I have no soak, and I am dead through mental trauma. So, there you are, folks. Lola Hayes. I'll give this one more go on another video, maybe tomorrow night, and see if I can make it farther than level 2 of the Depths of Yoth. But I think there's some potential here. As you can see, I think that there's some, that second Crisis of Identity was a disaster. I mean, taking out my gun, which was my only way of dealing with the enemies, which then in turn took out my tarot, and then which made me have to put my soak onto just bad stuff. So a series of sort of unfortunate events for Lola on the second level. But I've found in this scenario, it's very easy to have a series of unfortunate events. And playing solo, you have to be ready for anything. I had a good investigation engine going. I was ready to get out of the second level, but I was beset by enemies. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. This is Tim from I've Got a Plan, and I will be hoping to post another video with another playthrough of this same thing tomorrow evening. Thanks for joining me, and watch for another episode for The Secret Name, starring Jim Culver and Calvin Wright. That is the third in the Circle Undone campaign. That will be coming next week. Thanks for joining me, and let's have fun. Thanks for watching I've Got a Plan. I've really enjoyed playing for you today. If you would like to get in contact with me, you can reach me anytime at I've Got a Plan Podcast on Facebook, or I've Got a Plan on Soundcloud. Leave a comment on any of my audio files there. I'm putting out an audio podcast weekly. Or you can comment below in the YouTube video, and I will be glad to get back to you. You can also reach me at my email, which is tpfiscus, F-I-S-C-U-S, @gmail.com. You can find me around the place at I've Got a Plan Podcast, including at Discord and on Reddit. Thanks for listening. Have a great day, and let's get together again and have some fun.